Welcome back to The Bible is Art, and this week we're talking about why more data, more science will never be enough. There's a common sentiment in both business and culture that if we just get more data, if we do more science, more STEM, then we'll all be okay. We'll get the answers. It'll solve all problems. We'll get the meaning of the universe. But this is unquestionably false. And it's false for this reason. And it's going to sound confusing for first, but I'll explain it. It's false because there are always higher patterns. Here are a few examples. In business, the belief looks something like this. All we need for this business is more data about our users or our website or whatever your product or service is. And once we have that more data, then we're going to be able to make all of the most important business decisions. Same thing politically. If we just have more data about the people, about the infrastructure, we'll be able to make the correct decisions. But this is not true. It's half true. Bottom-up knowledge is necessary, but you also need top-down knowledge. And let me give you a few examples. Take a pixel. If you knew everything about this pixel, its size, its dimensions, its location in space, its color, all of its mathematical properties, you still would be lacking necessary information about this pixel when you see the higher order pattern in which it's a part. Or take a musical note. You could know everything about its timbre and frequency, but still lack enormous amounts of information because it participates in a higher order. Or similarly with a hydrogen atom. Once again, you could know everything about its physical properties, but all of a sudden there's huge new patterns when you have two of those combined with an oxygen. This is why you can never predict what's going to happen with the stock market. Let's say you're options trading and you learn tons of patterns, but these patterns are never complete because there are always higher patterns occurring. It could be political patterns with something that's happening in the world. It could be retail patterns. It could be all sorts of patterns. But reality stacks on top of one another in layers, and there's higher and higher patterns as you go up. This is the fundamental structure of the world. This is why we have physics, and then you go up a level and you have chemistry, and then biology, and you keep moving up, and there are patterns in worlds at every level. And you can't understand the higher level by understanding everything from a lower level. Now, if you're a reductionist, this is the dream, right? This is a fundamental belief that everything is reductive. But all of our experience indicates that it isn't. And furthermore, we don't know how high these patterns go. There could always be a pattern one level higher. And reductionism strains the massive amount of evidence we have from common sense. So if you take an example of this finger right here, why does it move from right here to over here? Well, the reductionist is going to say, if I knew everything about every physical property in this whole system right here, and maybe the world, I would be able to tell you why. But we all know the reason is because I had an intention in my mind and then enacted that. It was something coming from my mind directing my finger over there. It was the higher order pattern of my mind moving these particles and subatomic particles. There's a higher order explanation for the physical movement of these subatomic and chemical particles. And this has been a fundamental proposition in Christian theology forever, that God has created higher orders of the human will and angelic will and the divine will, not created, but it exists. But this is also a very helpful, both pragmatic and philosophical proposition for you to hold, because it gives you two perspectives to always consider in any situation. This is the fundamental difference between the political left and political right. Now, not in the United States, these have become strange and fuzzy categories, but in the abstract in left and right. That is, the left looks at bottom-up patterns. Bottom-up causation looks at the life and the reality of individual people and groups of people and tries to work up to political organization from there. Whereas the right will look down from the top, like looking at a map, and want to make political organization based on a top-down view. And fundamentally, both are necessary because both are real realities. We eat food and read. We take multivitamins and talk to ourselves. There are patterns that a pilot can see that the farmer can't, and vice versa. So just remember, more data won't save you. It's just half the picture. Thanks so much for checking out the video this week. I really do appreciate it. If you'd like to support the channel, you can do so at patreon.com/thebibleisart. I'll see you in the next video.